So let's talk about disinheriting your spouse. Like, can you disinherit your spouse? Hello and welcome to Adulting with Sam, where we are doing life in general. Really, we're doing life in general. So if this is your first time here, please subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. And now that we're done begging for subscribers and likes and comments, let's get straight into the video. Today this is a get and ready with me video, and I just want to talk about disinheriting your spouse. Do you want to disinherit your spouse? If you don't know, or if you do know me, you know that I'm a lawyer. I am in private practice, so once in a while I come across these very interesting cases, or there's just something that's spinning out there legally and it's something that I find interesting, then I'm just going to be sharing with you on this channel. So we're just going to get it ready. I need to remove all this foundation on my face. I don't put on foundation every day, but I think I'm going to be doing it because, like, why not? I'm just learning anyways. So let's talk about disinheriting your spouse. Like, can you disinherit your spouse? So Chikwada versus Chikwada, I'm sure you've heard of it. It made headlines a while ago, like not so long ago anyways. It made headlines. Okay, so just, you know, I'm using coconut oil, yes, coconut oil to cleanse my face. Like, it just gets in on the dirt really when you use coconut oil first and on all that foundation. So let me give you the facts first and then we can talk about the law. So Penelope and Aaron Chikwada were married in terms of customary law in 1971. And then in 1973, they started living together. And then in 1975, they had their marriage unionized in terms of the civil law. So when you're married in Zimbabwe, in terms of Zimbabwean law, when you're married, you know, when you have your 511 marriage, it basically means you're married out of community of property. Now, what that means is that you have the right to own property, to do with it whatever you want, in your own name, even though you're married. So that's what it basically means. You're married out of community of property. So yeah, they were married and then they acquired their matrimonial home, I think in 2007, something like that. And then they acquired their matrimonial home, and I hasten to point out that this was the only home that Penelope knew from the time they got married up to the time of her husband's, you know, death. So before marrying Penelope, Aaron already had 6 other children before marrying her. So that means he had the first wife and then they divorced and then he married Penelope. So from the first wife, he had like a 5th son, who is, you know, the other Chikwada in this case. So there's Penelope Chikwada and then there's the other son, who is Gerald. Now Gerald was the 5th son from the previous marriage, from Aaron's previous marriage. Now, when Aaron died, now the matrimonial house was registered in both their names, in both Aaron and Penelope's names. They both had like a 50% share in the property. And when Aaron died, a will surfaced. And should I say naturally? No, it's not naturally. So he had bequeathed his 50% share in that matrimonial home to his 5th son from the previous marriage. Now, of course, Penelope wasn't happy about this because she was not going to be able to enjoy the property as she would have when he was alive. I look really funny. So anyways, she approached the High Court to have the will, you know, set aside on the basis that it was disinheriting a surviving spouse. The High Court agreed with her, like, yes, you're disinherited. You would have enjoyed this property if he was alive. Why should it be different when he is dead? So it's not proper. So it's going to be set aside on the basis that it is disinheriting a surviving spouse. Of course, Gerald was not happy about this, so he took the matter to the Supreme Court. Guys, look at that. Can you see that? People be moving around with layers and layers of makeup on their faces. Anyways, now Gerald wasn't happy about it, and then he took the matter to the Supreme Court. the Supreme Court agreed with them. Now this is where it gets interesting. This is where I usually want to know what people think about this. Like, what do you guys think? Should a will be set aside because it is disinheriting a surviving spouse? The Supreme Court agrees no, because there is something called freedom of testation. What freedom of testation basically means is that you can do with your property what you want with it. In your will, you can give it to whoever you want. You can bequeath it to anyone, like even your girlfriend if you were cheating. I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, I'm not joking, it's true. But anyways, yes, that's what freedom of testation means. You can do with your property whatever you want. No, there were submissions in that case that I also find interesting. For example, the advocate for the wife, for the surviving spouse, was saying the court needs to protect women. Like, we need to be clear. It's clear that most of the cases where people come to court complaining about being, you know, disinherited, most of these litigants are women, and they are disadvantaged because these men, what they do is they buy the properties and then they put them in their names, and then when they die, they, you know, a will surfaces and you have nothing as the surviving spouse, and you're a woman, so women should be protected. But the Supreme Court did not agree with this submission. You know, they're like, the court was like, no, you married out of control of property, you can also own, you know, you're a woman and you can also own your own property. So it doesn't mean that we have to then protect you in that sense, because freedom of testation is gender neutral and the right to own property is gender neutral. So we can't then say because you're a woman you need extra protection, and you all have equal protection before the law in any case, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman. But yeah, that was what the Supreme Court held, basically. That there is something called freedom of testation, and it applies to both men and women. You can do whatever you want with your property. So I'm just curious, I want to know, do you guys think you should be able to disinherit your spouse? Should you be able to do whatever you want to do with your property? Or, you know, should we set aside wills on the basis that a surviving spouse has been disinherited? Like, does it matter that a surviving spouse has been disinherited when somebody has the right to own property while they're married, and you have the right to do whatever you want with your property when you are dead? Because that is the cornerstone of the freedom of testation principle. So that's basically it. Yeah, I have removed my makeup. I feel better now that I don't have makeup on. Funny thing. But anyways, that's basically it. That's basically that's basically the law now. It's from the Supreme Court, so it binds all the other, you know, lower courts. Please let me know if you have something that you want me to reveal. I'm just gonna go off camera and then I'm going to wash my face and do everything else that I do. So I just wanted to show you how I remove my makeup in this video. I'll do another video where I'm just showing you how I wash my face and everything. Please be knowledgeable out there and know your rights. It's good, I think it's good to, you know, read some of these things in the press, in the newspaper. I've come across people who are like, oh, so what really happens when, if my husband dies, the property is in his name? Like, yeah, you have a right to own property while you're alive, whether you're married or you're not married. You have a right to own property. Like, just make sure you own your own property. Okay, not your own property, just make sure your name is there, you know, on the title deed or anything. But that's basically it. Have a good day from me to you. Be nice, be kind, be safe out there, and bye. I will see you next time.